Bodybuilding fans around the world, it's prime time. That's right, it's prime time muscle. Tim Wilkins, joined by these two great guys, the real deal, Chris Cormier. How are you, buddy?
What's up, baby? How you doing?
Looking fly as all get out, my friend. Terrick Guindy, how's it going?
Great to be here.
Stop looking at me.
I must admit,
Stop looking.
I like the jacket.
Oh, you like the jacket?
I like the jacket. Is that Versace?
No, it's not, but it's close.
What is it then?
Don't worry about it.
It's pronounced Versace when you get it at the outlet mall.
Okay.
Then you don't
Yeah.
talk my language.
I don't
understand what you're saying.
little bit of a, when you get it, there's a misspelling in it. That's how you save the big money.
It's fly.
When there's a typo.
He's got the Cartier watch, the nice jacket. He is fully styled.
That I do.
So, other than dressing fly, there are crazy things that bodybuilders and fitness people do. We talked about one. We're gonna go back there again because it is picking up speed. Among the many things that I want to touch on today, blending your food. Blending your food, Terrick.
You just call me Nick Walker. Are my arms looking big or something?
They're that massive.
Okay. Well, obviously blending the food is something, I think, new, right, Chris? Did you guys have that in the past?
No, we wasn't doing that.
You drank raw eggs like Rocky. That's about as far as it went.
No, that wasn't that was not in the chest of things that's going to make you better. I mean, I just never. No, yeah, I was in the era of the drinking the raw eggs, but not blending. I'm not going to blend any chicken and do anything with something liquidized like that.
So, because we are in the industry, a lot of times we lose perception of some of the things that we do. But I'm going to tell a story here. I won't tell names, okay?
But isn't that a monkey see, monkey do thing? It's not like something you need to be doing.
Blending your food? No.
Go ahead, Terrick.
That's fine. Just interrupt me at any given point.
Yeah, I have the seniority.
That's fine. So there was a pro qualifying event, okay, in the United States. And the promoter of this event was very close to the hotel manager. And the promoter went up to the hotel manager and said, hey, anything that happens in any room, you let me know. I'm here to support you. And by Friday check-ins, they met at the lobby, and the promoter of the show said, is everything okay? And the hotel manager said, well, not really. We had to change a toilet. It was on room 536. And eventually said, okay, give me the name and I'm gonna find out what happened. She gave him the name, and it turned out to be a super heavy bodybuilder. So then the promoter of the show confronted this super heavy bodybuilder at check-ins, and he asked him, what happened? And the super heavy bodybuilder said, you know what? I'm so sorry, but I had this big yam in my room, and I kept looking at it. And I didn't even want to throw it in the trash because I knew I would reach back and eat it. So I decided to put it in the toilet because I knew that I wouldn't reach back there and get it. And then it clogged up. So I'm really sorry. I mean, and when I was listening to this story, I said to myself, what kind of industry puts a big piece of yam in the toilet because they don't want to reach back and eat it?
Out the trash.
Could you imagine the hotel manager?
Oh my God. See, but that's been known to happen. I had a bodybuilder by the name of Melvin Anthony stayed in my house, and he was training, and his show was coming up, and I promised him if he went to, 3, 4, 5 weeks without cheating, then I'd give him a cheat day, and then we'll get some cake and whatever he wanted, pizza, a slice of pizza or so, whatever, and then get back on a diet. So we did that, went out and got that. He was big eyes, eating. Next thing you know, at the end of the day, he finished. I said, okay, that's enough. No more. And then I was like, I thought it'd be okay just to leave there. He's going to have the discipline and stop. I came back out to use the bathroom, and then I went into the kitchen. Next thing you know, more of the cake is missing. I was like, Melvin, I thought. So then I put it in the trash, right? So I thought, he's not gonna mess with it, and then I went back to bed. Came back a few hours later, and he went back in the trash and ate more of the cake. So then I was pissed. I'm like, man, you did all this hard work and you can't control yourself. The show is like not that far. So then I put stuff on top of the trash. I mean, the trash on top of the cake, and then left it. Then he didn't go back in there after that. But I had to still go, even when it was in the trash, he still was trying to eat more cake.
So, keeping on with the crazy stuff from today, something they didn't have in previous generations was pre-workout. Dave Draper himself, at one point before he passed, told me our pre-workout was a strong cup of coffee and motivation. And now we've got all this stuff that's basically, peach-flavored methamphetamine with some niacin and B12, pump, and crazy names like hand grenade and death to the world. And these kids, though, it's not just enough to take pre-workout. They're dry scooping it. It says specifically to break it down in your body, 8 to 12 ounces of water, 10 to 16 ounces of water, straight to the mouth. And then on top of that, they're doing 2 and 3 scoops.
It gets likes. This is a world of likes and shares.
Chris, they can't even hold on to the phone to take the selfie because they're shaking in the gym like this, They're doing the bench press and they're like, you don't know if they're having convulsions or if they're working out. These guys, and then you see the powder on their face, right?
They love it. They just want some likes.
They just want to get those likes. What about the tanning? One time I went to get a haircut in the mall right there in Culver City, and the guy was asking me about my life, and he goes, what do you do? I said, I judge bodybuilding shows, And he goes, hey, listen, I don't know, but every Saturday, we see a lot of these orange people coming around. Does that have to do anything to do with you? And I go, yeah, they tan and they become a little orange.
People.
And then he goes to all the other barbers. He goes, all those orange people are bodybuilders. They were just looking at these orange people between prejudging and finals, walking around wondering, what the hell are they doing that they're all painted orange?
Have either of you guys done, this is a big craze right now, you see this, there's actually a couple of pros that are sponsored. Have either of you done a cold plunge?
No.
Cold plunge?
No.
Listen, I'm sure it has some.
It helps some.
So they say.
I'm sure, I see football players doing. I see a lot of people doing this stuff. I'm sure it's good. But have you ever gotten in the ocean, Pacific Ocean water here in California?
I don't think I want to get my webbles in that cold water.
I mean, mine, they were in my throat. That water is so cold.
The shrinkage, Jerry. Tell her about the shrinkage.
I mean, I don't want to be in cold water. I got mortgage, I got bills to pay, and now you're going to take my testicles away? Horrible.
So yeah, I'm not messing with that.
There's one guy that's out there that's saying you should sauna every day for half an hour. You should cold plunge for 5 to 15 minutes. Who has this much time that you're giving yourself hypothermia from hot to cold to cold to hot?
I mean, I've done it in Russia. One time I went to a spa. We did the cold plunge. They also have one in Kuwait, cold and hot and all that stuff. I get all that. I mean, it was a short period of time I've done something close to that, but not something I would really like to be doing, especially at this age.
It's time to wind up, Terrick. You ready? Here's one that has to stop for this generation. Here's one that, if you're doing this, at almost every level, there are certain people who are IG influencers that when they film themselves, it's part of a business model. I get that. Everybody else bringing in a lighting package and a tripod and a ring light.
At the gym?
At the gym. Setting all this stuff around. Chris, how many people have you seen? How many people have you seen?
Let me stop you there, because this is what I see. This is what I see. I was in the gym training someone. I seen a girl walk into the gym, go to the dumbbell rack, take a nice photo, different angles, different looks, and I like to see the smile, so I did a no smile, and then they're looking at the thing. Then she went into the bathroom, took some shots in there, and then she walked out the door and left.
No workout.
No workout. And then I saw a guy just a couple of weeks ago coming, and the guy's like, well, they had the guy's filming him signing in. He's filming him buying a drink. And then the guy said, well, it's only 30 minutes left before we close. So you might want to come back tomorrow. He said, no, that's okay, it's okay. So he's walking around. He did one set over here. He had a guy following him. He did one set on the other side of the gym. He did a couple more, and then they left. I was like, man, this guy is just taking it too far with the content.
Well,
Like, at least work out if you're gonna pretend you're working out.
And some of them, you're walking in the gym, they're like, excuse me, we're filming. And I'm like, you're doing 7 pounds. You're not worth filming. You're not Nick Walker. You're doing 7 pounds. You weigh 60 pounds with bricks in your pocket, and now we can't walk in the gym because you're filming yourself? Have some shame. Put some muscle on it. If you're Nick Walker, if you're Simpson Dowd, Hadi Chupin, man, everybody's going to walk out of your way. But if you're 16 years old and you got your buddies filming you and you're doing 7 pounds, come on. It's not a gym anymore.
So if you're one of those guys, there's going to be enough people filming you. If you're those other guys, then that's what I was really talking about. You're in the gym, and these guys are camped out on the machines, trying to get the angle right. And I'm looking, thinking, hang on, buddy, if you're getting this right, let me get rid of that thread on your shirt. Oh, that's your arm. How about we work out for a while? How about we get up to speed?
Yeah, let's get some muscle development, and then let's try to film it. But one thing also, I got to say, when you see a guy on the phone text messaging, and deep thought with his text message, and you ask him, hey, so how many sets you have to go? And you got 4 or 5 or whatever, and then they go back to texting. That burns me out, because I'm like, dude, like, we're trying to get a set in. Can you at least text over here while we do a set, and then you can well,
that's bad.
I worked in the gym business for many years. The general managers, the executives of the gym business, URSA, they have this convention every year.
Got one coming up in San Diego on
They
the 26th.
have to create a policy where they prevent that from happening. Because a lot of times, really good members, especially seniors, people that are busy, that are not into the phone thing, they get discouraged when they go to a gym and they have limited time and they see people on the machines on their phones. And I understand the new generation lives off of that, but we cannot cater to them if they don't want to exercise. You want to do that, stay at your house, get a background of a gym, right? And you can shoot as many selfies as you want. Some people are busy. They need to lift weights and get out of there.
I need you, in this generation, I need you to finish your workout so I can make it home in time for Fruit Cup, get back to the home. Judge Judy's on, and I got a nap to have. Pick this up a little bit. So one of the two of us has gains to be had.
I got to pick up the children in school. I got to do a live at 5 p.m. I got to change diapers. My wife is coming. I got to clean the kitchen. I got to prepare for primetime muscle. Come on, guys. Get off that phone.
Get out of the cold water, put down the dry scoop, and for God's sake, please quit blending chicken and rice. And we'll have more craziness.
And then we can get to our works, like primetime muscle.
Primetime muscle. More of that when we come back. All right, we're back on Primetime Muscle, and we've got an interesting differentiation to make here, team. The difference today between an influencer and an influence. Someone who's influential from their respect, their stature in the industry. Now, for fitness and bodybuilding, there are people who are influential as opposed to the people who are just, cranking out maybe the likes. Maybe they're putting out great content. Someone I enjoy, Michelle Lewin is a top influencer. But then we go back to bodybuilding. Bev Francis. We got Bev Francis. We got Linda Murray is incredibly influential. And then in this generation, we've got people like
Dana Lynn Bailey.
Adishna Ayala. She's got I love Dana Lynn Bailey. She is controversial. She's unapologetic about who she is. I did a live with her on Olympia TV, and she was talking about who was going to win the Mr. Olympia. I said, now it's a segment of losing followers. She could care less. She just said whatever she said was going to happen, and she didn't hesitate. People love that from her. She is possibly one of the biggest influencers. And then you have the influences, the most respected people in the business.
Like a Sandy Williamson.
Sandy Williamson, Linda Murray. in my personal opinion, Linda Murray is the most respected woman in the business. And I'll give you an example, right? Who's the most popular guy in bodybuilding right now? Bumstead.
Yeah.
When Bumstead was here a few months back for Olympia battles, the only person that he posted a picture with was Linda Murray. And he put it right there. 8-time Miss Olympia, and then he had a little sign of the GOAT. If you are, I don't care how many Olympias you've won, I don't care how many titles you have, once you're in the presence of Linda Murray, you know you're in the presence of greatness. She is one of the most respected ones. And Linda Murray doesn't have to say anything to anybody. Everybody knows who she is.
I love talking to Linda. She's like one of my favorite people in the sport. And, you know, I had the pleasure of doing commentate, the Tampa Pro with her, which was like one of the highlights of my short career in the media section. But yeah, just knowing her from over the years, knowing her when she came in, watched her throughout her whole career. I watched the whole thing, and seeing her battle, seeing her come back and retain the title again, battle back again, and just the personality, the character behind the person. It just makes all of that just so much better.
Well, now let's talk about the people who are a mix of influential and influencer in this generation, the ones that the younger generation is looking to for 2 million, 5 million followers for their how-tos and content, and to aspire that, the aspirational people like Dana Lynn, Yarishna.
So Yarishna Ayala is quite relevant because she has a great reach in the Latino culture, right? She all the Brazilians love her.
She's Puerto Rican.
Yeah, you have the Puerto Ricans, the Mexicans. She speaks Spanish, so she's very close. And she's also a tremendous competitor. She won the New York Pro. She's a perennial contender at the Olympia. So she's one of the few ones that can go to both sides and be very respected.
Bikini. Who in the realm of bikini right now that the girls, the young competitors are looking up to, saying, I want to be? Is it Jennifer Dory? Is it Ettila? Is it Isa Pacini? You know, Ettila.
47. AK.
Ashley Cole
Ashley Cole she has a huge following on social media, and she
trains people also, though.
Yeah,
correct?
and she's the winningest bodybuilder of all time. So Ashley Cole Ettila Santiago. I had an opportunity to watch Ettila turning pro in Brazil. I had an opportunity to judge Ettila winning a Ironman Games in Los Angeles with 58 bikini competitors, and she won the show. And now I get to judge with Ettila, and she's become very respected. She's traveling all over the world judging shows. I love what she's doing, and she's very strong in the internet. So she's also crossed. And some of the other female judges, obviously Sandy Williamson is the #1. She's a pillar of strength for us. You have a lot of these judges. Becky Clausen. You have Bernadette Galvan. You have Mo, and all of them, they're extremely respected in our business. So Ann Titone, she was a phenomenal competitor, and she promotes events, she judges, she's the master of ceremony. So we have some great people. Alina Popa, she was world bodybuilding champion. She promotes the Master Olympia.
You know, one thing I just thought of, you're talking about all these different greats. They're still training to this day, and they still stay on a regimen of working out.
Sandy's in incredible shape.
Sandy, I met her when I was a teenager, and I'd go to her gym in Riverside, and she was training then. She's still training now. She's still doing her cardio and still on top of her game. Linda Murray, she's still in amazing shape. On top of her game. It's just amazing that, most of the people that you think of as top influencers or influenced the fitness game, most of them are still on top of their game.
Now, Terrick, we talk about the different divisions always. What kind of influence? I know Natalia's got a growing following. Sarah had a huge following, and young ladies that are aspiring to move into those ranks. Figure Wellness, we know each and every one of them. They post a lot. Laura Lee, though, going back to bikini, Laura Lee's following is growing like her list of titles.
So I went to shoot for Olympia TV with Laura Lee Chapados in Florida. And man, she works out hard. I think a lot of the girls that are thinking about competing in bikini, they follow Laura Lee Chapados because she has really intense workouts. In figure, Sydney Gillen is extremely respected, not only for the body of work, winning 6 Olympias, but she's also very eloquent. Sydney Gillen is very eloquent, very intelligent, very cerebral about her approach to the sport. Moving on to the women's physique, we've had great representatives. Sarah Viegas, Natalia Coelho, Shanique Grant. She was a free spirit. I loved Shanique Grant. I keep trying to convince her to come back to the stage. Now, on the wellness, Franciele Matos is a different type of influencer because she's not on social media all the time. But all the moms love Franciele Matos because she is a mom. She has 2 kids, and she's the best wellness competitor in the world. How can you not love that journey?
That goes back to the aspirational aspect I was talking about, where people can look to you and say, all right, she's managing, she's juggling the whole realm of life balance. This gives me hope that, I might not be Miss Olympia, but I can at least aspire to an amazing physique, a healthy physique. And that's one thing about wellness. It does really give off a much healthier vibe at times than some of the other divisions when you're not as shredded, emaciated, ripped, striated. You've got that fuller look that's a little more aspirational.
Yeah, and I love when the competitors, a lot of times the competitors come to me after they win an Olympia. I remember having this conversation with people that won an Olympia. And I said, now you have an obligation to reach out to mainstream America. And honestly, Chris, Tim, some of them, they don't have the courage to do it. Once they get a little bit off season, they're scared to post pictures. They get insecure about it. Angelica Teixeira was the best one at it. Why? Because she competed, she would win, and then 15 days later, she was in tremendous shape at the beach in Brazil, eating whatever she wanted with her family, relaxing, showing pictures of herself that she was in complete off season. And that encouraged people to look at and say, well, the lifestyle is awesome. Look at Angelica. She's the best in the world. She won, but now she's got the ice cream, the pizza, she's at the beach. It's not only about this diet crazy. And I tell them, just because you won the Olympia doesn't mean you're not a representative on the off season. Get a burger, go to the movies, take a selfie, show everybody that the sport has the decompression time.
Another big shout out along those same lines is someone who had the baby, was a champ, had a baby, and is bouncing back and showing her journey. Nicole Wilkins, big shout out to you for just sharing what you're going through to stay in the fitness game, to regain that amazing physique that made you a champion.
Yeah, Nicole Wilkins was a great champion. I think, did she win like 4 in a row? Was it something like that?
It was 3 or 4.
4 in a row? Yeah, she was great. And yeah, shout out to her, man. I've known her for many years, and before, she used to always come up to the Weeder's office and everything like that, but she was a great representative. Great.
One of my favorite back in the fitness era was Trey Bennett's wife, Shannon Matro. And she was at an Olympia on her way to prejudge, pushing a stroller with a pretty new baby. You talk about bouncing back.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm having a baby, I'm working on my routine, I'm getting in that first physique round ready, and she did well. But to have that kind of, I'm gonna have this baby, find my work-life balance, and get right back in shape, that was amazing.
You know who else has been a strong influence, especially in the West Coast? Michelle Mayberry. Michelle Mayberry competed at the Mr. Olympia many times. She's a judge, she's a promoter, she's an incredible person, and a lot of the young competitors, they relate with her. I judged with Marlene Dodson for 20 years. Marlene Dodson was a nurse, she was a powerlifter competitor, she was one of the most incredible people to work with. And obviously, you know, I'm very close to Sandy. You know, she's reached literally thousands and thousands of competitors, and she's been such a strong, positive influence. So
while we're on the subject of Sandy and the influence, at the beginning of the year, here in the headquarters of Wings of Strength, they had a massive women's expo. So let's think of everybody that was there, because those are our influencers. All the champs came in across the divisions. I know Whitney was here, Sid was here, Andrea was here, Linda was here, Sandy Williams, was Becky Clausen here as well?
Yeah,
everybody was here. Hundreds and hundreds of ladies across all divisions coming in for posing, coaching, inspiration, motivation. And it's just so great to see the support and the influence that you get from the top all the way through the sport.
Correct, yeah. So it's the women's seminar. Sandy leads the charge. Heather is very much involved.
Your amazing wife.
Yeah. You know, I got to give credit to my wife. My wife has a plethora of jobs. She's the best mother, the best wife, and she was a great competitor. Actually, I didn't know, but I judged my wife. And then after we met, she goes, "No, you were my judge." And she won her class, and then she took second in the open.
I hope that's the last time you judged her.
So you, you retired her.
No, I sleep on the couch many times, you know. She goes, "You like that girl better than me." I said, "That was just part of the job," you know what I mean?
You just weren't first call out, honey.
Back
Sorry.
to the couch. Back to the couch.
And then what'd she tell you? Quarter turn to the right. Straight back to the couch.
Well, you know, we met at a gym in Pacific Beach, and after a while she said, "I actually competed and you judged me." And when she said that, I froze. I said, "Oh God, this is gonna be." And then she said, "Well, you gave me first in the novice, but in the open you gave me second." So you know, so.
Well, we know there's no politics. All right, guys, we're going to be coming back after this for our last segment of the day. Really honoring and respecting the history and tradition of the sport with one of our favorites. When we come back on Primetime Muscle.
People always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else. Every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, you know I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables, F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on trifecta.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Part of any sport, any activity, anything in history is honoring the past and looking to the future. So often we are looking minutes in the past in this generation and saying, all right, this is how it's going to influence. I actually was talking to a kid. I said, "You're really into bodybuilding, huh? You know your history of bodybuilding?" He goes, "Oh, yeah, man. I know Big Ramy and Brandon Curry." I go, "Okay, you know what just happened 45 minutes ago."
Right.
But there are very few people in this sport that were the true historians, that were the storytellers, that really brought things to life in a way that Peter McGuff did. And you were part of that rich history, and you were part of that time with Peter.
Yes, Tim. He was definitely my all-time favorite writer, and not only writer, but a mentor, I would call him, a friend. I would call him someone that, you know, he wanted to see me succeed. And I have a long, long history of meeting him, from seeing him in the magazines, you know, having a close relation with Dorian Yates. He had his first column called the London Lowdown, was his first one he did. Then he started to work with Weider eventually. I used to go to the Weider's office day-to-day basis, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week, on a weekly basis. And he'd be the first person. He'd be the person that I would connect with first, and then I'd talk to some of the different writers. But I'd say, "Here, I'm here to see Peter." And so he'd come up, and once I got into his office, so he had every magazine you could imagine from the 70s on up in his office. So I'm going through every single Flex magazine, going through his drawers. I'm going through different stuff, seeing what he has, reading everything he has, spending, you know, a couple of hours up there at the Weider headquarters. And
what was it like the first time you saw your name in one of his articles?
Oh man, because that whole experience was, you know, I'd leave there, you know, in tears of happiness sometime, because that's where I wanted to be. I wanted to make it. I wanted to walk the same floor as the greats before me, And that was just meant everything to me as a kid coming from Palm Springs, wanting to make it in the sport of bodybuilding, wanted to be known in the sport as one of the best. He had a really good sense of humor, so he was always answer, "Yeah, this is Peter McGuff," and I'd always call him around 4 o'clock, and I'd say, "Would you like to have a spot of tea?" Because that would be like tea time in England, so I'd always call around 4 o'clock p.m. I had his home address, his home number, so I'd actually call him all the time. I mean, in the middle of a party, I'd call him. I'd call him early in the morning. He'd always pick up for some reason. He'd always pick up.
This was before caller ID.
I'll be in Europe. I'll be in Europe, and I'm calling him. I remember one time I called him when my hamster died, and I was all upset. And he was trying not to laugh. I bet you he was biting his lip, trying not to laugh at me. But he held it together, and he was like, his name was Fluffy, and he passed away after like 3 years. And he was one of those.
Our condolences.
Don't laugh, man, because I was sad. Fluffy was a little white hamster.
You good?
And he, why would you laugh at death? You laugh at death? Excuse me. So he had some class.
Sorry
and
about Fluffy.
And Fluffy passed away.
I'm sorry.
And then wait, and so
it gets worse.
Me and Fluffy been through a lot. I mean, I didn't go guest post in Hawaii because Fluffy got his hair caught in the wheel, and I had to take him to the hospital and get his skin glued back together.
Ouch.
Yeah, he's been through a lot. He was traumatized for a long time, but he was with me for about 4 years.
So are we?
Yeah.
Hey, you weren't there,
Stop.
man.
You don't know Fluffy.
Fluffy took third to Flex Wheeler's hamster 3 times in a row.
So Peter said, "Do you have a photo of him? A photo of you and Fluffy?"
Oh no!
And so Peter put it in the magazine in the gossip column. He said, "This is Fluffy in his happier years with Chris, where he rest in peace now, and all show condolences to Chris for Fluffy." And I was really touched by that because Fluffy meant a lot to me, man. So I really appreciated that.
That's an awesome story, Chris. That's awesome.
So me and Fluffy was in a magazine together because of Peter. So then when I had my son, Kibiak would come up there I'd bring him up there to Weeders with me. And he did the same thing I did. Like, no matter what, he'd come in there, he'd start going through the drawers, doing all the exact same things that I did before me. And it was something, man. I got a lot of years and a lot of memories of Peter, man.
Peter McGuff is the greatest bodybuilding journalist of all times. And after listening to this story by Chris, he might just be the greatest human being on earth.
Thank you.
Peter had a tremendous knowledge of bodybuilding. He wrote so eloquently. He started, right? He is a British gentleman, and he started following British bodybuilding in the 80s. Right from the regional shows. And he was the guy that pretty much discovered Dorian Yates before all of us got to know Dorian Yates. Peter loved bodybuilding. He knew the history of bodybuilding like no one else. He also loved the bodybuilders. And I had a chance to meet him, and I had a chance to always exchange some messages with him. And like Chris said, he was so attentive to each one of us. Despite being the prophet of bodybuilding, the oracle of bodybuilding, Peter always had time to listen to you and to make you feel special. And, you couldn't wait for Flex Magazine to come out, even when he went to Muscular Development. There was a show, and Peter McGuff's opinion was the one that you really wanted to listen to. Every single YouTuber right now, every single media outlet, Olympia TV, Muscle and Fitness, the Dennis podcast, the Menace podcast, we all benefit and follow on the footsteps of Peter McGuff because we want to be the voice that people listen. Peter was that voice.
Let me ask you this, guys, because everybody thinks and wants to think when you are no longer in your position or you're no longer here that I was the last of a breed. And in reality, a lot of people, no offense to a lot of people, your spot's going to be filled pretty quickly. I don't see how Peter McGuff's shoes were filled by anybody. There are people that have a really great grasp of the history, but he was an artisan when it came to telling a story.
But Peter, I remember when I do the Olympias and honor classes, I'd bring my PlayStation with me. And sometimes I'd be right in the middle of it's because they would come to the rooms before you go down to the venue, and they'd, trying to find out your mindset. Maybe they can get a quick look at how you look would be great also. If they don't, they just do like a short little interview right before you go to compete. Sometimes I'll be right in the middle of a really good game, and he'd sit there and wait for me to finish my game of either of Madden or whatever. And he was like, I remember him sitting there like a full 10, 15 minutes just watching me play. And he just like, that's the way it goes. But he was always fine with it. Never said a word. He and his wife was like
Annie.
the same.
Yeah.
So she, hats off to her. She, that was her best friend. And it's just so many times that Peter was always there. I remember he was like, "Well, Chris, I guess you're okay now with how you placed at the Arnold Classic and didn't really win it." He said, "Am I right?" He said, I said, "Pete, 6 fucking times." Yeah. Fucking take it second.
You can't say that word.
You can't play
I'm
sick?
just telling you what I said to him.
You can't say 6?
Bleep it out. But I just said that's what I said.
We're good.
You just go beep.
So the reality is, though, guys,
But he asked me that, and I had to tell him the truth.
he's irreplaceable.
But he's been there.
He's irreplaceable, and to have the heart to share the hamster story on the magazine, he just might be the greatest human being on earth.
Peter, you are incredibly missed, and a big hole was left. But we want to honor your legacy and all the bodybuilders and fans that you touched over the years. Thank you very much.
Number one forever.
Guys, as always, like, share, comment, subscribe.
Smile.
Chris. And you two characters. Shout out to the real deal, Chris Cormier and Terrick Guindy. Tim Wilkins, we'll see you next time on Primetime Muscle.